Some familiar problems pop back up for the Twins, the 2021 Twins, in this series loss against the Royals at Target Field. Twins lose 1-2 in this series. We're going to break everything down, talk about each game individually, then some big picture items, and then take a look at what's next. But hitting with runners in scoring position was a problem. Preventing inherited runners from scoring was a problem. These are very common things that we've seen with this club so far, and that's how you lose baseball games. That's how you end up with a record as bad as the Twins is so far. What's up? This is Tom Froming from Twins Daily. We're going to break this thing down. Thanks for clicking on this video. So game one in this series, the Twins lost 8-3. It wasn't a very competitive game. This sucked. I mean, just to be honest, the Twins had won 6 out of 7 coming into this game. And, you know, it's hard to win a series when you lose the first game. Pardon me. You know, you got to win the next 2 back-to-back. You know, obviously it's doable, but without winning that first game, it makes it much more difficult to win the series. And the Twins really needed to take this series. It's very important at this point that they're winning every series. They're going to lose games, of course, but as long as they're winning series, they're making momentum. They're doing what they need to kind of dig themselves out of this hole. So very frustrating that they lose this game to open up the series. Things were going fairly well until Randy Dobnak was actually left in for too long. You know, a lot of people complain about managers these days, and I think it's every team taking their guys out too early. Rocco Baldelli certainly gets plenty of that, and pretty easy to look at this game and wonder if Dobnak got left in for too long. But Cody Stashak, to be fair, did make matters worse by taking over in the 7th inning for Dobnak and allowing 3 inherited runners to score and 2 of his own. Oh, by the way, so Cody Stashak really made a mess out of this game. He was sent down, and I think it might be a while before we see him. It might, who knows? We might not see him again. He's been really bad this year, unfortunately. And he was the guy the Twins kind of needed, not as a back end of the bullpen guy, but as one of these guys in the middle innings that comes in and takes care of business. And he has not gotten the job done. But also in this game, the Twins were 1 for 9 with runners in scoring position and left 8 men on base. That's certainly not a formula for success. Mitch Garver homered on a positive note. He had a nice hitting streak going this week, and then Jorge Polanco had a pair of hits, but just not a productive or positive performance overall in that first game. Luckily, in game 2, they did bounce back and won 6-5. Their lineup actually tacked on some insurance runs in this game, which has been rare to see the Twins do that. And that was the difference in the game. Taylor Rogers inherited a 3-run lead, and he gave up a double and a home run to open the 9th inning to the first 2 batters, then retired the next 3 guys to pick up his 4th save and secure the 6-5 victory. I mean, you don't want to see your one of your guys who's closing giving up damage, but this is a little bit more forgivable than if you'd been walking people. That's if you're a closer that's got a 3-run lead and you walk a guy or 2, that drives me crazy. Like, make them beat you at least. Make them hit a double and a home run at the very least, instead of giving them opportunities to get back in a game. So nice to see Rogers at least get things done, shut the door after that home run. Trevor Larnach hit another long home run in this one. Very impressive. His power to center field is epic. Trevor Larnach. And Rob Refsnyder had 2 hits in this game, so he continues to play well, as is very much needed because he's the everyday center fielder. Max Kepler exited this game after aggravating a hamstring injury and went on the injured list. I talked about kind of all the moving parts in a video earlier today. I'll put a link up in a card if you're interested in that. And it sounds like the Twins don't have a plan B in center field right now. Kepler was one of the only 2 guys on the roster who could play center field. Now it's just Refsnyder, and he's been playing center field for like 2 weeks. So it's not like he's some experienced guy there. And it doesn't sound like they're going to try to promote anybody else that can play the position or try to get anybody else in there. So, man, that's all rolling on Refsnyder, which is crazy to think. But he's played well out there. In this game, Jay Happ wasn't efficient in any way. He only went 5 innings, but he got the job done here. 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Again, put the Twins in a position to win the game. They took care of business. The bullpen did have to pitch 4 innings, which is not always going to work out real well with the Twins bullpen as it is right now. And they did give up some runs, but Luckily, again, that the lineup tacked on some insurance run as the game progressed in that game 2 victory. Game 3, today the Twins lost 6-3. The Royals gave the Twins plenty of opportunities once again, much like in game 1. But hits were very hard to come by. Kansas City pitchers issued 7 walks and hit a batter. They also committed an error in the field. But despite all that, the Twins scored just 3 runs. Again, just 3 runs. They scored 3 runs. They only had 5 hits. So all that other traffic on the walks and the hit by pitch, they couldn't take advantage of that. They were 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position and left 10 men on base. Ben Rortvedt did have his first career home run, so that's certainly a positive thing. He was the guy who got called up when Kepler got put on the IL. So big moment for him. He's always going to remember that, his family. Big moment for them as well. So congratulations to Rortvedt on his first major league homer. And Alex Kirilloff reached base 4 times. So, those are the kind of things that we're looking for. If this team is going to be losing, we want to see those young guys playing well. And that was certainly a great silver lining in this one, for sure. Matt Shoemaker, while he was on the mound, only gave up 3 runs. And then Caleb Thielbar allowed 2 of the 3 runners that he inherited to come around to score. Now, of course, Shoemaker put those guys on, so it's not like he's completely out of fault. But that's just, it's so weird that these 2 games were so similar, that game 1 and this game 3 couldn't hit with runners in scoring position. Bullpen gives up a bunch of inherited runs, can't stop the bleeding in a big inning, and that's what results in a loss. Happened in both of those games in this series. So, again, Twins win 1, lose 2. Overall, a frustrating end to that series. And, it sucked. It sucked today. The Twins needed to win this series. They still have won 7 of their last 10 games. So if we zoom out a little bit, they're on a positive trend at this point. That's obviously good. If they continue a 700 winning percentage pace, things are going to go very well. They're going to erase these deficits, but it's hard not to feel dissatisfied with the way this series and specifically today's game went in particular. So a couple of things that I want to kind of circle back on in this series, J Happ and Matt Shoemaker, they did not look very good, either of them in particular. Happ certainly much more than Shoemaker. And I think at this point, and this was kind of the case all along, these are guys who really aren't going to win you games on their own. You're hoping that they don't lose you games, essentially. But I don't think either of them is going anywhere anytime soon. They're not performing especially well, but innings are hard to come by. A lot of teams struggling with pitching. I mean, the Twins, think of the Twins outfield. That's what a lot of teams' pitching staffs are going through right now in terms of trying to piece things together. So I don't think a lot of teams are going to be casting aside healthy pitchers right now. There's still 4 months left in the season. It's hard to kind of wrap your head around that after the shortened season of last year, but there's a lot of baseball left to be played. Shoemaker will certainly be on a much shorter lease given that he's pitched worse and he has less invested in him from the Twins. But as long as Kenta Maeda is on the shelf, I suspect both those guys are going to be around. Maeda apparently had a bit of a setback. I guess his arm isn't feeling great now, and it was a groin thing, and now his arm. So they're going to give him a little bit. Originally it was thought maybe he would have the minimum stay of 10 days in the injured list. It's going to be a little bit longer than that. It sounds like, who knows how long that gets stretched to, but Dobnak pitched in that game 1. I assume once it comes down to it, I don't think that Dobnak's going to get pushed back out of the rotation. That would surprise me. So when Maeda comes back, I do think probably Shoemaker's days on this team are going to be numbered, but we'll see how that goes. And then the other 2 guys, again, we've talked about 2 veterans in the pitching staff there, J Happ and Matt Shoemaker. In the lineup, this lineup didn't have a great series. They hit 206 as a team in this series, but Josh Donaldson and Miguel Sano in particular, 2 guys that really need to be stepping it up. You have a bunch of injuries. You have a bunch of rookies in the lineup right now. You need these veterans to be playing well and contributing. And Josh Donaldson was 2 for 14 in this series with a walk and 2 strikeouts. Miguel Sano was 0 for 10 in this series with a walk and 5 strikeouts. So combined, they were 2 for 24, which is an .083 average. Again, it's not like anybody really starred. They hit 206 as a team, but these guys really have to be who you want them to be for this team to be winning games and this offense to be working right now, and they're just not there. Sano, he's so streaky. Next series, he could be the guy carrying the team, or he could again go and put up an offer and strike out on almost half of his plate appearances. That's kind of the feast or famine nature of him. Donaldson only reaching base 3 times in 15 plate appearances. That's pretty unusual for him. He hasn't been playing well for a while now. That's certainly frustrating. Again, when this team is desperate need of somebody to step up, and it's been the rookies have been playing well, and Refsnyder's been playing well. And those guys, those are the guys who are supposed to be providing the support to the established guys. They're not getting the support from the established guys. Even Cruz, I think Cruz's overall numbers in this series were pretty good, but this is kind of a time where he needs to be carrying the offense, and he's had a pretty poor month so far altogether. Certainly nothing as bad as Donaldson and Sano were for this series, but lots of blame to go around, certainly. So up next, the Twins are going to go to Baltimore. This team is a mess right now. It's going to be a 3-game series at Baltimore, and that team is still in an absolute tailspin. They just lost their 13th straight game. Oh my gosh. They got swept by the White Sox, and they have lost 13 in a row. This is a very bad team, this Baltimore team right now. And the Twins, I think it looked like they're going to miss John Means, who is their best starter, one of the best pitchers in the American League so far this year. So this is a great matchup for the Twins going into Baltimore. It's a bit difficult to feel too optimistic today after they lose a series against the Royals at home, going to Baltimore. But, if there's ever a team that you want to be playing, it is these Baltimore Orioles right now. So hopefully the Twins can go into Baltimore and get a sweep. They absolutely have to win the series. If they lose this series at Baltimore, yeah. I mean, we're already to the point. We've been past the point where it's like the odds are incredibly against this team getting it together at this point. But, every negative outcome, losing a series against Kansas City, losing a series at Baltimore, just adds more on to the lack of hope. So they need to keep, again, they have won 7 out of 10. They keep that pace up. Things are going to be looking good before too long. So they just got to keep that rolling. Hopefully they win that series. Hopefully they sweep that series at Baltimore. But we shall see. We'll talk about it. Do one of these series recaps for every series. Thank you for clicking on this. Once again, this has been Tom. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, leave a comment, talk with some of the other Twins fans down in the comments there, and consider subscribing for more Twins talk here on YouTube. Thank you very much.